everyone. My name is Vishesh Shukla and I'm from class 11B. And today I'll be the one teaching you all about poster designing in today's palette session and layout principles. So without further ado, let's start. So the objectives of today's session are to understand poster designing principles, exploring free online design tools, which will mainly be Canva for today, and creating visually appealing posters yourself. So let's start with the first topic of today, which is principles of poster designing. But actually, before moving on, let's make it a little more interesting. Yeah. So today's session will, of course, be a lot interesting, with many activities coming in and lots of input from you guys yourselves. So let's actually start with posters. So I'm sure everyone would have made posters before in your lives, yeah, and or you would have at least experienced what a poster looks like or how you make it, etc. So let me ask anyone. Let me ask you guys if you have ever made your any posters. I'll be sharing a Nearpod link with you guys. There'll be a collaboration board where you can give in your experiences which you have had with poster making. And of course, then we'll move on with what is actually posters in graphic designing. So let me just share the link. Mainly in online using graphic designing. So what actually is poster though? Poster is actually one of the most significant pieces of visual communication, and it is also one of the most oldest methods which people use to communicate their message visually. So poster is actually really important in communicating a message. And typically, if you would think of a poster, it is just one piece of a paper where you put in your different elements using images, graphics, and text maybe to convey your message, maybe in a portrait or a landscape manner. But that's about a poster. But there are different purposes of a poster, such as first is to attract the attention of the audience. Then there is you make an impression to the person about what you're trying to convey. Then you arouse curiosity, where the person is more curious to know more about the message you're trying to convey. It can invoke a reaction between the audience and the people to uh, make them really excited. And the most important is that you convey or communicate a message. So so we'll be learning more about how you can use different principles and different techniques to make your posters more appealing. Now, there are lots and lots of key designing principles which you use in poster designing. Mainly for today's session, we'll be looking into 5 different key designing principles, which will be really important to make you understand how you can create a balanced and engaging poster. So those will be balance by achieving visual equilibrium, contrast, you'll be creating visual interest through differences between your design elements in your poster, hierarchy or visual hierarchy to organize content for easy comprehension, alignment between the different elements to maintain order and unity in your poster. And last but not least, proximity and separation actually to group related elements together in the same manner with each other. So yeah, so let's start with the first key designing principle, which will be balance. So balance is essential for visual harmony in poster designs. And actually balance is really important to us because it appeals to us in our real lives as well. from our faces to balance, which we are like how we balance on ropes or like, different places. Maybe as kids, we would have balanced, while playing, and we would have experimented how equilibrium or balance works in real life as well. So balance is actually really important when you're considering to make a poster in graphic designing, and it will be helping a lot for today's session also. Now, balance actually creates stability in your poster. I'm sorry. So every element on your page, it carries an equal weight. Every element carries a visual weight. So if a poster is displaced and it's not in the correct order, it would feel that the page is maybe falling to one side, and it will look distorted. So that's why balance would be something that feels very grounded to your poster page. Now, balance can actually make your elements more stand out or a little more subdued in your poster. So it can, create a difference between different elements in your poster. Now, there are two types of balances, which are symmetrical and asymmetrical, and we'll be looking into each of them today. So you can arrange different elements so that they are evenly distributed to the left or the right of the center. This is called symmetry. Now, in symmetrical balance, you actually use a hypothetical center lines in your posters, such as you see over here, to divide different elements in an equal manner and an equal distance between each of them. And basically, you create a symmetry with using different elements in your posters. So you can see that I have taken three different layout examples in a poster actually over here, which you can use. You can see there are three different circles with equal sizes, divided in equal distance between each of them. You can see other three circles of different sizes, but also in the same line and equal distance between each of them. Then you can see these four circles, which are on the either sides of a square, and they are divided using two different hypothetical center lines. Now, symmetrical balance can actually also be seen in real life. And I've taken a few examples over here, which look about almost the same as the ones above, like in the layout of a poster. So the first one is of the Taj Mahal, where it looks sort of the same as this one, where you can see there's two different pillars on either sides of the Taj Mahal, and the Taj Mahal in the middle, of course. Actually, I have a fun fact for you guys about Taj Mahal. So even I got to know this about Taj Mahal yesterday, right? So uh, Taj Mahal actually changes colors it's like a chameleon effect of a Taj Mahal. It changes colors three times in a day actually. So in the morning, if you were to see the Taj Mahal in real life, you would see that it's lightly pinkish, and maybe in the day, in the evening around time, you'd see that it's a dazzling milky white color, how you see it in the pictures and how you see it over here. And in the night, it looks like a golden jewel, so it's really shining in the night. uh, that's really interesting about Taj Mahal. That's because of the marble, of course. And then there is the CN Tower, which you can see is almost similar as this one over here. You can see how it's actually starting as a big structure, and then making on its way to the top, it's becoming smaller. There's a viewing place in the middle, which looks like the big circle over here. And it's basically symmetrical, yeah. Then there's a building complex with four different buildings in equal distances, and it really looks symmetrical. So you see how all of these look very appealing to the person's eye, and how it makes the person really interested about what is being showed. Then there is asymmetrical balance on the other side, where you arrange dissimilar objects, different objects of equal weightages or maybe different weightages on either sides of the pages. So now asymmetrical balance, although not uh, maybe not feeling right, but it is actually used in your posters to create posters, and they also actually make the person feel appeal to the poster, make it like really different from others. So as you can see in the three different examples, there are circles with different sizes on either sides of the pages. It actually sort of feels like when the first person sees this, you would see the big circle, of course, first, then the smaller circles. And but if I was to draw a line through the poster over here, you would see that it's about the same weightage on either sides, and as for the rest other tools also. Now asymmetrical balance in real life, of course, is used for art pieces, as examples I've taken over here. Now, the first art example which I've taken over here is of the Starry Night, painted by Vincent van Gogh in 1889. And actually, a fun fact about this piece is that um, the artist he actually used only his memories, based on his memories, which he saw through his windows in the night. He drew them in the day, actually. So, although it seems like it's night and if a person was to be drawing this, you would think that he's maybe, just looking at a
You
night
know that he,
scenery or
you
something.
know that he
Yeah,
painted this in the jail, right?
yeah. Actually, not a jail. It was in an asylum, but I didn't want to mention that. However, it's good to know that you know about the painting itself. So yeah, he actually drew it in an asylum, and it was all his imagination that he used. This village was actually not really there. He used his imagination to create this painting. Another example of asymmetrical balance you can see here is in a different art piece. So thank you for the one who noticed that and actually shared with us about the fun fact. So now there are different aspects in a balanced poster which you can consider while making your posters. There is typography, which you would have learned before, is all about choosing your appropriate fonts and sizes and styles of your fonts or of your text to to complement your overall design and enhance the readability. Then there is color palettes. You can use different colors. We'll be looking into further. You would have learned about the color wheel before in your previous sessions, where you choose different colors and create harmony using those colors to support your message. And we'll be seeing into that also again later on. Then there are, of course, images and graphics. If there is no images and graphics, there is nothing in a poster. Posters are really made interesting using these images and graphics. Then the other two aspects of a balanced poster is, of course, the layout and composition, where you arrange different design elements strategically to create balance and visual appeal. Then there is negative space, where you use empty spaces between the piece which you're trying to convey a message through, and providing the breathing room and draw attention to the key element which you're trying to display. Now, before moving on with contrast, I'd like to show you an example of a book cover page over here, which I've taken. And uh, I can say the balance is really used very well in this poster piece or a design piece. So I'll just show you how balance would look over here. So if I was to divide this page in three different segments, maybe sort of like this, you would see that either sides of the pages are in an equal depth. They are in the same manner. There are letters of the book, of course, which is poetic force in sort of black and white and grayish manner. It creates depth between each of them. Then there is a white line going through the poster, and there are words, of course. So actually, before, when you're actually seeing a book cover page, when a person is actually reading a book, he would see the cover page, of course, first, and he would notice the two things in the cover page. Yeah, the the book name and the author's name. So uh, each of those elements have been used really well by in equal distances in a well balanced manner. As you can see over here, using the same font styles and different aspects as of balance as we have seen before. So it's really interesting that you can see balance in real life yourselves in different posters, cover pages, or anywhere. If you look forward, use your creativity and like just uh, imagine different aspects which you'll be learning in today's session. You can see how balance and sorry, different principles are actually used uh, in real life. Yeah. Now I have taken lots of many more movie posters further on, which we'll be discussing about and making it really more interesting. So now moving on with the next design principle, which is contrast. Now contrast actually refers to the level of difference between the different design elements in your poster uh, to create a visual hierarchy or a visual interest using differences. So these differences can be in colors, size, shapes, or textures, and you can make maybe one element or other elements more important, make them stand out than the other elements to create a composition between each of the elements and really convey the most important message in your poster using contrast. Now, but actually, what is visual hierarchy, which I've mentioned before? Visual hierarchy is actually the arrangement of different elements in your poster piece to show their order of importance. So, a visual hierarchy guides the viewer's eyes to the different elements in your poster, and it gives attention and communicates what's actually really important in your poster. So now there are five different aspects while considering contrast, or they are in colors, size, shapes, and textures and fonts. So moving on with the first contrast, which will be using colors. Now you can create contrast is actually about utilizing your different colors in your poster to create the visual interest as we were discussing about before. Now you can use color hues, darker or lighter colors, color temperatures or color intensities, different color intensities in your poster to create contrast using color. As you can see here, I've taken different pictures to explain you more about these. So let's start with color hue actually before. So I'm sure you must have seen the color wheel before, learned about it before, and the color wheel over here is being distributed in six different manners or types of uh, colors, ways you can use the color wheel as. Um, so the first is monochromatic, where you basically just choose one color and different shades of it, darker or lighter shades of it, and actually you would use all four, maybe three or two, the different shades of that color in your poster to make it really see like make the poster same but also different at the same time. It's really interesting. You can experiment with these colors moving on in the activity which I'll be sharing with you later on. So then there is analogous, where you use maybe three or four different colors in a same line in an analogous manner. So if I was to take red, I would choose three different colors along with it. So like purple, orange, lighter orange, yellow, uh, along with red, or maybe purple and dark blue in either sides. It depends all upon you. You can experiment with those. Then there is complementary, which you would have learned before. You basically just use complementary colors, the colors which are opposing to each other, such as red and green over here. Then there is split complementary. Split complementary, where you use three different colors. You actually are supposed to use complement. So like if I was to use split complementary, and if I was to choose blue at first, I would choose the opposing color, which would be slightish red. And instead of actually choosing that, the other two colors on the either sides of the uh, color, yeah, that is split complementary for you. Then there is triadic, where you create a triangle in the color wheel and choose the three different colors on either sides of the triangle. Then there is tetradic, which is basically double complementary. You just take two colors and the complementary colors of those, and that's six different manners of color wheels or colors that you can use in your poster yourselves there. Then there is using darker or lighter colors. As you can see here, I've taken the cyan color. You can choose lighter to darker colors to create contrast between each of them in your poster design piece. It is same as monochromatic, and you can check it on further. Then there is color temperature, where you choose cooler to warmer or maybe neutral colors in your pieces. Then there is like to create contrast using temperatures of colors. Then there is the intensities of colors, where you basically just saturate a color. You can create a high contrast or lower contrast with the same color. So if I was to take a red color here, a high contrasting color would be a really bright red, and a sort of grayish red would be really with low contrast. Yeah. So we will always, you can always just experiment and see these differences, contrasts in uh, wherever you go in real life as well. So it would be interesting if someone could, if maybe if you've actually seen, we'll be checking it on further. Uh, if you can give your examples, or maybe how you would have seen it in real life. So moving on further, then there is the size contrast, where you vary the different sizes of your elements to create emphasis and hierarchy between the different design elements in your posters. Now, actually, I would like to say, note this out, that there are three, actually, when you're looking at poster piece, there are three different types of hooks which hook the audience. There is the primary hook, secondary hook, and the supporting elements. So uh, um, if you just understand the names, primary, secondary, and supportive elements, you would understand that primary, of course, is the main element, the most important message which you're trying to convey out of the poster. And it is really important that you make it a really big size, and make it stand out more than the other elements. Then there is, yeah, would anyone like to speak? Okay. Uh, Okay, anyways, so then there is the secondary hook, where it is of a smaller size, but not that small. And it would be the second thing which a person would see in a poster. Then there is the supporting elements, such as small pieces of images or graphics you can use in the background to draw the attention of the audience. Then there is space contrast, where you combine geometrical and organic shapes, or maybe unexpected shapes, to create composition, a contrast using shapes. Right. So let's move on with the other contrasts, which are textures, using textures. Now you can choose either smoother or rougher textures in your posters, or combine the patterns with solid areas to create a striking visual effect. So as you can see an example of rough and smooth over here, you can just experiment with either rough or smooth in your posters yourselves, and that's how you use texture contrast. Then there's font contrast, which is actually really important. As I've said you before, it's really important that you use font contrast when considering the three different hooks in your posters. Now, so if I was to create contrast using font, I would make the maybe the heading in a bold font, and the other text in a smaller, a normal font, and basically you can just create a visual hierarchy and emphasize the message which you're trying to convey over there. Right. Then the actually yeah, so then there are the other two key design elements, which are alignment and proximity. So what is alignment? Actually, alignment is really, really important when you're considering graphic designing. So basically a proper alignment can guide the reader's eye or the audience to establish a visual hierarchy and create harmonious composition. So if you'll see in an example further on how alignment is actually used in your posters, you can either left align, center, or right align them, your different elements, and depending on how you want to show it. It's all basically graphic designing is all about your creativity. So if you want to choose a left aligned, you can go ahead or maybe different alignments, but stick with the alignment which you're trying to choose. Important that you know that when using making posters. Yeah. Then there is the other key design principle, which is proximity. Now, when we are talking about proximity, there of course has to come separation. Now, proximity is all about placing similar content in like different sections of your posters. So you can group different objects or elements and can show they are related to each other or different from each other to like organize your poster. Now, how is separation important here? Of course, if you're trying to group different elements together, you need to separate them. Yeah. So separation is actually really important when considering proximity as well. All right. So now we'll be creating posters ourselves, but actually before moving on, I showed you how we'll be looking into different examples or different real life examples of how these different key design elements are actually used. So this really interesting movie, which I'm really fond of. I'm sort of like a film enthusiast, but don't worry, by film enthusiast, I just mean that I Google through different Wikipedia pages of the movies and just, like read through the behind the scenes or maybe about the actors, just like that. So, yeah, that's about me. So looking into this poster of the recent movie called Oppenheimer, where you can see how the 5 different design elements are used themselves, such as balance, alignment, proximity, and others. You can see how the poster is well divided on in 4 different parts. If I was to divide the poster in a horizontal way, the first, this is how you can see it. But if a person was actually to be seeing this poster first, he would notice the atomic bomb first, of course, yeah, and the person on top of it, then maybe the text, different texts, and then the backgrounds and other stuff, yeah. So you can see how rough texture is used on the atomic bomb to symbolize how the picture is about history, about World War II. So rough textures create a sort of cold feeling. So you can use these rough textures in your posters as well to, create different meanings or understandings of the message which you're trying to convey. Now, as you can see, the main heading is in a different color and a bigger font, and the other words are in a smaller color, and the actors' names are in an equal distance to create balance between the different elements, etc. You can see the other design principles yourselves in this poster. Another example of the same movie is can be seen over here, where the different principles are actually also used. You can see how I would have shown you that analogous color wheel. Yeah, the contrast, you can create contrast using analogous colors. So that was used over here with red, orange, sort of brown and black colors. And it's really interesting that you can also see those small flares and textures of flares to uh, stand out the like supportive elements to stand out the message which is being conveyed over here, which is about the person who created the atomic bomb and how fire is used in the back to for the say about the message on. Then another example of the same movie where again the contrast is used with colors and the fonts and shapes and sizes, such as the window over here, which you can see, and the person's space. So person's face, sorry. So if a person was to be, or an audience was to be seeing this poster first, you would of course look at the person first, looking through the window, which is the main element over here, then the movie title and the other uh, text. Yeah. Now, if you're discussing about Oppenheimer, it's of course really interesting that we also look into the contrasting movie, which is Barbie, of course. Now, if actually I would like someone of you to just point out if you can see any difference yourself between the two posters.
Oh,
You can just open up your mics and
one has less saturation and it's much more darker,
yeah,
and it's like less vibrant than Oppenheimer, which is about a
right,
war film. And while as Barbie, it's colorful and vibrant because it's a kids movie, and
yeah.
to
So
appeal to children, if it's bright, they'll usually get attracted to it. So that's how they marketed it.
yeah, right. So you're actually really correct about your, how you had seen the differences between the two posters. You're absolutely right. So it's a lot more darker in the Oppenheimer poster, where more, it's sort of more adultly, or more darker sort of movie than Barbie, of course, which is sort of for kids to me, and the message behind the movie, of course. So yeah, you're correct about what you just noticed. And anyone else, if would anyone else like to say anything? Any
The
difference that
color
you?
palette is different.
Yeah, color palette, of course. So you can see the blue color and the pink sort of color, reddish color, which is contrasting over here, and the analogous colors which are used in Oppenheimer, of course. That's color contrast over there. Yeah, Quen, if you would like to say anything else.
Yeah,
The
sorry.
typography and the message conveyed by them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
typography also as well.
yeah, it's Kavian, sorry. So
Right, Kavian,
this
yeah. Sorry.
yeah, so the second image has cool colors, and the first one has hot colors to like to
Warmer
highlight.
colors, yeah.
Yeah,
That's good that you noticed that over there. Yeah, cooler and warmer colors are actually being used in either of the posters. Anything
yeah.
else?
No,
That's it.
not really.
All right. So thank you for everyone who noticed the differences between the posters. You can actually further on just experiment and see the differences in other real life examples yourselves. Then I've taken other movie examples over here, which you can see you like different principles have been used in these posters themselves, such as this Spider-Man poster, where the contrasting colors, the orange and the purple is being used in the background, the geometrical shapes, and then the organic shapes, such as the humans, have been used over here. Um, by that, actually, I would like to say Spider-Man was actually a really good movie. Yeah, Spider-Man and Oppenheimer were really good movies of this year, and I don't like this movie was actually this year was actually a really good year for movies, of course. Another example of the Spider-Man movie itself, where balance is used with the sort of with the textures themselves, with the cities and the people in the back, the spider people in the back, and the main character, Miles Morales, in the between, to convey the message which was being shared here is of like different spider people in the movie, of course. Then another is of this Moon Knight poster where you can see a grayish, darkish colors or black and white colors have been used to convey how moon looks like in the using the reference of the moon in this poster. And then there is of this Dunkirk poster. You can see the different design elements, of course, yourselves. Then this John Wick poster, where John Wick himself is standing in the middle with the location of the shoot, where it was shooted, which is Paris, France, of course. And then another example is of this Interstellar poster, then the Spider-Man, and other movie posters which you can see yourselves in real life. So that'll be it for the examples part of this session. I hope that it would have made you think more about how you can use principles to create posters yourselves, and see how these principles are actually used themselves in these posters, and it would have made it a little more interesting. Yeah. Now, about designing posters, we'll be mainly using this Canva for today's session as other sessions. And here are some instructions which you can go through. I'm pretty sure that since you would have already used Canva already, you would already know about how you can use Canva. You can log in Canva using the website or the app, and choose different templates from the start, or maybe start scratch with the blank page, and then add your customized text, images, graphics, or shapes and other parts. Then experiment with those colors, fonts, and layout options, and then save and download and share your design piece by the end using Teams or the feedback form, of course. So the next, actually moving on with the next part, which is the activity, which is really interesting itself. I would like to just go on with the Nearpod actually. So I have a time to climb a quiz for you all to just see what you have learned for today's session. So if everyone can just log in through the Nearpod link. Okay. Okay, Queen is leading in the first place, and following up with Arush and Dhruv. Let's see others come up also. Okay. Now Nathaniel is leading, following with Gabriel, I believe. Gabriel and Rishabh. Okay. Let's see this. Let's see with this question. All right. Looks like most of you have answered the question already. I think this question was a lot more easier than the previous questions. Okay. Okay, Nathaniel is still leading along with Gabriel and Nathan. Rishabh went down a place, one place down. Okay, I think this question should also be easy. Okay, on to the sixth question. This question, I have like just told about it before the quiz. It's more new, so I think everyone should get correct in this. Okay, Rishabh, Gabriel, and Dhruv are leading in the three place, in top three. Yeah. Okay. Okay, most of you got it correct, so that's good. Oh. Mhm. How can you create emphasis? This is mainly about your shapes of the different elements that you're choosing to create emphasis and visual hierarchy. So this should also be easy. All right, let's see. Most of you got that correct. Now the last question. This is sort of just to make it a little more interesting, but I just wanted to see you guys' opinions on this. Let's see. And don't worry, both the answers are correct. So it's all your choice of what you want to choose. 22, 24, how few have answered? 28. Oh, 16 of you choose Oppenheimer with 13 choosing Barbie. So Oppenheimer wins, yeah? Let's go. Actually, Oppenheimer was really good. So I'm glad that most of you chose that. Then, okay, so coming in first place is Rishabh Arul with Queen, if I'm spelling it correct again, and Gabriel in the third place. Congratulations, all three of you, along with the others who took part. And that will be it for the quiz part of today's session. Now, moving on further, I have an activity for you guys, of course, as always. Now, this can be done as a homework, or you can just try to do it in 5-10 minutes. And the theme of today's activity is Time Masters of Fiction. So in today's activity, you will be exploring the captivating fictional characters and their expert time management. Design posters showcasing the efficient balance in extraordinary lives, unleash creativity. So basically how you learned about balance in posters yourselves, yeah? You just need to create a poster of a character, of a fictional character, and if you were to imagine how that character is using time management, like a balance in their real life, and just sort of try to, make a poster, make it interesting with it. That will be it for the activity. If anyone else would like to share your poster, if you can make it in a while, we'll wait for a few minutes. Until then, we have your feedbacks. Now, your feedbacks are really important to us. So we'll be sharing a feedback form with you to make it interesting. Thank you, Queen, for showing, for,
It's
and
Kavian.
Kavian. I'm actually really sorry, but your name is, it is sounds like I just want to say Queen. Okay, Kavian, I got it correct now. I would not do the mistake again. Okay. Feedback from Aditya, if you can just share it.
What's the topic for the poster?
Yeah, sorry, I'll share it again. So theme is Time Masters of Fiction.
Thank you.
Basically, if you're not able to connect time management, just try to make a poster of your favorite movie or fictional character which you're really interested in, and share it with us in the teams. There'll be a folder there to submit your work. We'll be checking it in the next session. All right, in the meanwhile, if anyone has any doubts or queries, you can ask me right now, or any other topics which you would like to, just clear out, or maybe anything else, just ask me right now. Feel free to ask. You can also give in your feedbacks for my session of how I presented, if you liked it, in the Zoom chat, of course. And it would be really meaningful if you can share it here. You know.
Can we leave?
Oh, was I speaking? Okay. So yeah, you guys can thank you everyone for joining in today's session. And if you felt interesting, you can give in your feedbacks and in the Zoom chat or in the feedback form, of course. And thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you, Bindu ma'am, Aditya, and Kavyan.